Fox News alert and something of a surprise in Washington. Chuck Schumer, the Senate Majority Leader, says he's going to bring back the border security bill that died on the vine a short time ago, back in January, I believe it was. He's going to bring it back and hopes this time, he says, to be able to pass it. For more on the state of that bill and the presidential race, let's bring in South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace. Chuck Schumer, Congresswoman, blamed Republicans in the House for the death of that border bill. He said it was bipartisan, said it had bipartisan support, but he blamed House Republicans for the death of the bill. Is there any chance that it gets passed this time around, do you think?
Well, it's hard to say. I know in the first rendition of the bill, when I saw it go through the Senate last time, there were a lot of loopholes, a lot of exceptions. For every good idea in the bill, there was an exception on the very next page, which really made the bill not worth the paper it was printed on. And when you look at the idea of, hey, when 5,000 people cross the border, we're going to just shut the border down. This country has never shut the border down like that in any way, shape, or form. And if you look at Trump's policies, if you were just to use, for example, Title 42 and remain in Mexico, if you just reinstated those two policies, you could stem the tide of illegal immigrants coming across the southern border by about 80%. What I don't want to see is contentiousness. This is a #1 issue. I live in a purple district. 40% of my voters are independent. This is the #1 issue facing our country in every swing district, every purple district, every purple state, of which, by the way, Joe Biden is losing to Donald Trump right now.
Right. Well, it makes one wonder whether Democrats, including Chuck Schumer, are looking at the polls and seeing how concerned the American people are about the situation on the southern border and deciding that maybe as a campaign issue or a campaign promise, perhaps, we need to do something about this border situation that's been festering for, well, the entire Biden presidency, at least, and maybe then some.
3.5 years and 9 million illegals later. And this is a problem created by Joe Biden. Literally in the first day in office, his first day in office, he shut down all of the building of the wall at the southern border, all of it. And there's been steel rusting at our southern border for 3.5 years now. And you look at back-to-back presidencies under Donald Trump, he built over 550 miles of wall. In Joe Biden's first term, he said he wants to build 21 miles of wall and hadn't even done that yet. And so we see this in every state. Even in my district, just last week, there was an infant tragically killed on the roads by an illegal alien in South Carolina. We're seeing deaths. We're seeing people affected by illegals every single day in this country, and we've got to put a stop to it. And Republicans have a plan under Donald Trump.
If it weren't for South Carolina, and particularly South Carolina 6th District Congressman James Clyburn, Joe Biden very well might not be in the White House right now, because it was Clyburn who threw his support to the now president back in 4 years ago, and that helped propel his campaign against Bernie Sanders and others into the White House. Well, now we have a graphic that shows how black support has fallen for the sitting president. In October of 2020, he enjoyed 79% among black voters, 79% support. Now it's down to 72%, and so that leads the president to do things like speak at Morehouse College graduation. How much trouble is the president in among black voters in South Carolina and, frankly, the whole country?
Well, I think he's in significant trouble. If you look at the polls in swing states, he's down in all but one to Donald Trump. He needs as many voters and as much support as he can. But the problem is he hasn't done what he said he was going to do for black and brown and African-American communities. And he needs these voters. But I look at Joe Biden, and he's a lifelong racist. This is a guy who didn't want his children raised in a racist jungle, according to him. And he told black voters just a few years ago, you ain't black, according to him, if you didn't vote for him. And that kind of divisive language isn't the kind of thing that wins black I think, hearts and minds. You're seeing that today. And he's been a very divisive president. He hasn't made good on his promises in anything with regards to inflation, with the border, to jobs. Everybody is worse, including black voters and women, under Joe Biden than they were under Donald Trump. And Donald Trump's polling, I mean, he's got more significant support among black voters than any Republican that I can think of in recent history who's run for president. And, you know, you're seeing some of those voters to say, hey, we're not going to vote Democrat now. That's what you're seeing in Joe Biden's polls.
South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace, good to have you on. Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.